Okay, this is my new pedal board. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. When I'm on stage, I use the Sennheiser wireless, but here in the studio I have it unhooked, and I'm going right into my love pedal, which is a line drive that boosts my signal impedance-wise, so I don't lose any signal or any tone throughout my chain. So from the line drive, I go into my wah pedal. This is a Fulltone wah. It's the Deluxe model. A lot of really nice features. This video that I'm going to shoot is an overview of the pedal board, and I'm going to test drive it for you, show you some of the sounds, and then I'm going to do further videos to where I break some of this down, look at the core components for my main guitar tone, look at different delays in a separate video, my looper in a separate video. So I'll give you an overview. So from my either wireless into the line drive or the line drive, continuing on to my Fulltone wah pedal. From here, I go into a noise suppressor. This is an effect that removes any buzz, any kind of signal noise that you have. Typically, it's also known as a noise gate. Typically, this kind of sucks the tone out of the guitar sound, so I don't like these. However, this is a very smart one in that it has an effects loop built into it. So the only place that this exists in the chain is with what's in the effects loop, and I have my two tube screamers running through this. So it's not affecting my overall signal, it's just affecting this small part. And the two tube screamers are what, in this whole pedal board, it's going to generate the noise or the buzz. So when I turn this on, it takes the noise and buzz out of this, which I'll give you an example here in a minute. So from here, with this inserted into the noise suppressor, I continue on in the chain and go to the volume pedal. Now, let me say this. For my two Ibanez tube screamers, both of them, notice how they're set at unity level and at 10 on the tone. The first one, the drive is set at noon, and the second one, the drive is set at 3. So we'll come back to that. So from this, with these inserted, onto the volume pedal. From the volume pedal, I go to my PitchFactor. I mainly use this for octave, so I can give kind of a bass effect, especially nice when I'm playing solo and with my looper, and it's also just cool sounding. And then I use 1/5 below blended in as a harmonizer for a song that I wrote called Sister's Got a Problem, and that's kind of the signature harmonizer effect that I'll turn on periodically in an extended guitar solo for something just kind of for that wow effect. From the PitchFactor, I go to the TimeFactor. These are Eventide units, very nice. TimeFactor is a delay. From the TimeFactor, I go into my Boss DD20, which has 4 different presets that you can save. You have to scroll between them. That's the only thing that's unlike the line 6 that I used for a long time. There's 3 pedals. You can have 3 of them set and you can switch between them instantaneously. This you have to scroll through. So I usually only use this as a ping pong effect for a really dramatic delay. I run my rig in stereo, so this really has a cool sound. So I'm just usually turning this on or off with 1 setting. But it does have 4 settings that you can save, and it also has a tap. But I don't use that. I always just use it stock ping pong at the time that I have it set, which is around 4:40. From the delay, I go into my Space Echo, which is a black hole by Eventide. This is mainly reverbs and delays, but that reverb, big, spacey sound like you're way out in outer space. I mean, this has some fantastic settings. I just got this, so I'm just scratching the surface on this. I've got a setting that I really like that's very heavy on the reverb. I'll show you that, but I'll be getting into this more in the coming weeks. From the Space by Eventide, I go into the Slicer. This is a tremolo type effect that pulses, and you can set it at all kinds of different waveforms. I found one that I really like, and I set it to a random effect. It can do like a mono, stereo, or this random effect, which is like a ping pong with a almost like a triangulation. It's really cool sounding. I like it a great deal. So I have it on random for that. And then from the Slicer, I go to my looper, which is stereo. From my looper, I go to my two, right now I'm running to the Fender Princeton reverb amps. I have an original 1967 Fender Princeton, and I got a brand new reissue Fender Princeton this week, and I like it a lot. It comes with a Celestion 25 watt 10-inch speaker. I have a Jensen 10-inch speaker in my original Princeton amp. It is a replacement speaker. It breaks up better. I think I'm going to put one of the Jensen in the new 68 reissue, but it sounds really good. It's just a darker sound. I can tell that it's heavy duty. It doesn't want to break up as easy. So I have the settings on the amps set quite a bit different to try to match the new one, the new 68, with that Celestion to my older one. So that's something that I'll be doing here in the coming weeks as well. Okay, now let me get into the pedal board and test drive this a bit for you. All right, I have both tube screamers turned on. That's going to give me a nice full sound. I like to use two tube screamers because when I have the volume wide open on my electric guitar, I'm hitting them as hard as possible so the most amount of distortion comes out. If I back my volume down, it cleans up the sound. So I'll work my volume, which also kind of shapes the distortion sound throughout my entire performance. I can bring my volume pedal down, turn my guitar all the way up, and have the thickest distorted sound, and have this as a master volume, where I can have this all the way up and use my guitar to ride the volume to clean up the sound, or have it the most sustained and most distorted. Now I'm at a fairly low volume here in the studio, so this is much more drastic when I have my two Deluxe reverbs, which are twice the wattage. Those are 22 watts, whereas these are 12 watt amps. But I've got them, set at a reasonable volume here in the studio. So if I were playing solo, a lot of times I'll just use one tube screamer. But as the night progresses and I do stuff that gets a little bit more intense, I'll turn both on. When I'm with the band, I always keep two of them on. Very seldom do I turn one off and get a really clean sound. But on occasion, there's a song that I wrote called What in the World, where I will turn the heavy one off and get a real pretty, clean sound. And then when I bring this in, so there's not a big jump in volume. I like for everything that I do to be pretty seamless and an insertion of tone, not a big jump in volume. If I want to jump in volume, I'll turn my volume up here or on my guitar. But I don't want some shock coming from turning an effect on. So I'm really picky about having my unity and effect, you know, having that, whether it's on or off, be as close to the same volume as I can absolutely get it, okay? So that's my gain structure. This Eventide delay, this is kind of my go-to. That's about the length of delay that I like, about the number of repeats that I like. On the fourth one, you can barely hear it. The fifth one, it's almost gone. Now, if I turn on the ping pong, now I'm going to bring the black hole in. I want to show you that one by itself. I've got these set. When I turn them off, the delay continues. That's another thing I like about this Bosch unit. When I turn it off, it continues to repeat. There's not a hard shut off. So here's just the black hole. Okay? Nice big reverb sound. When I add this, and I add this, it's real important to me that you can still hear the original notes that I'm playing on my guitar. I don't want the affected sound to overtake what it is that I'm playing, especially once I start using a looper, because then as you start layering things, it can become mush really fast. So by having things set just so the original sound that I'm playing throughout is not, there's not too much competition, I guess that's the best way to put it. Plenty of effect, but I don't want it overwhelming what I'm playing, so it's just mush. Okay? Now I'm going to show you a couple of things I like to do with my volume. Notice that in the signal chain, my volume comes before any of my delays. That means that if I turn my volume down, it does not cut the delay off. That allows me to get like a violin swell. Okay, I'm going to turn the black hole on and add to that. And if I put this delay on, okay, so think that's a lot of fun. I think it sounds really cool. I don't overuse it, but when I need it, it's a nice addition, and it tends to get people's attention. It's definitely a different sound from just your typical blues type, you know, kind of aggressive style of playing. So I'm going to show you now the slicer and what it does. Now, for one, notice that the red and green ring right here is flashing. That's the tempo that this is going to be at. So I'm going to put on a little delay, and I'm going to play a rhythm from a song that I wrote called Rising Sun. And once I get my tempo down, I'm going to tap it out on here. And I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to prepare it to record. It has a built-in looper. It's recording. Now it's playing. Notice when it kicks into its loop mode, the guitar signal that's blended in goes away. It's just the wet signal. No original guitar, just the affected signal. So now I've got that as a rhythm source, which is really cool if I'm playing by myself. Capture this on my looper if I wanted to have what it is that I was playing with the effect. Let me turn a few things off so I can kind of get back to ground zero with just a delay. Now that's playing, but I can play over that. Or I could capture this once I've looped it, so the two blended sounds go away, and it's a little softer. I just get the pulse. So let me do that to give you an example. I'm going to clear my looper out. I'm going to put this in record mode. Now I'm going to record. Now that's going. And I can layer over top of this. Now, you might want to ask why I would do that. One, once I've recorded something and turned this off, it is not stored. And it does not store anything ever for any reason. It's not one of these loopers where it's stored until you unplug it or change patches. This has no patches to change. While it's armed, it plays, turn it off, and it goes away. So that's one reason. But also, if I want to layer over this in time, I had all of these hooked up where they were, this was the main slave and everything. I had my tap switch and I could sync everything up. That did not, it was surprising to me. It was sterile sounding for the type of player, the percussive player that I am. I have a couple of delay settings that are really in my DNA that work well for me. If I want to tap, I can. I can set these things to do that. The main thing that I would tap would be this main delay. Since I use this for a reverb, there's no need to tap that. And then I can tap this as well. So I unhooked that, and I'm just going straight with this being my only delay that I would use a tap on. So with that said, these aren't going to sync up very friendly. I could get lucky and hit everything just right, but the chances of me hitting it just right and them staying in sync, it's pretty slim. Even if I'm spot on, over time it will start to drift the more it repeats. So this way I can capture that with my rhythm guitar being played or without the rhythm being blended in. Whereas this, once I kick it on and record it, I have no option for that to be anything but just the affected, the wet signal. Okay, so this is kind of a basic rundown on what I've got going on here. This here is an expression pedal. I've been hooking it up to different things. I may end up hooking it up here to the black hole. I haven't decided. I had it hooked up to here for a while, which allows me to blend the guitar unaffected signal in with that. There's a lot of things I could do with that. I don't have much real estate left on my pedal board, so I'm kind of letting that sit for a minute until I really test drive this thing for a few weeks and see where it, you know, what I need here. So this is what's going on. You know, a lot of people might think this is overkill for a blues guitar player. It is. You know, for the most part, when I hit the stage with the Kelly Richey band, I've got 2 tube screamers on, and periodically I'll turn on my delay. I use my volume just to set my level, and I'm done. I may kick on my wah a few times during the course of the night, but that's it. Okay? If it's like the end of a song, like you know, a Hendrix tune, or you know, like Rising Sun that I was just doing, something that really gets amped up, I'll turn on the ping pong delay for just that extra wow effect. And that's it. That's all I use. But if I'm playing solo and I want to create an ambient bed or some kind of a pulsing bed that would take the place of drums and bass to allow me to play to something, I have all of these toys to use as my paintbrush to paint that soundscape. I can always just use this and lay a straight rhythm guitar. So for the blues stuff I do, I'll just kick this on, lay a nice rhythm guitar and play over top of it. And again, just my 2 tube screamers, maybe some delay, and this would be all that I'd use. But as the night goes on and I want to get some, you know, variation, maybe towards the end of a set or something, or the end of a show, I might want to shake it up a little bit or bring in some ambient sounds. I've got all of these things in my toolkit now to paint with. And I can do it in real time. It's very organic. It's not anything prefabbed or pre-recorded. So I like that. And it, you know, you're flying by the seat of your pants every time you go to create these things. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll take a deep dive into a lot of these units in the coming days and weeks. So stay tuned, and thank you very much.